We'll start with the opening statement, and then we'll take questions. Coach?
I mean, what a game. First of all, that atmosphere was incredible. I mean, down the stretch of that game, it was so loud in there. You know, it was hard. You know, even as a coach, it was hard to signal play calls and get it. I mean, it was so loud. And, you know, our crowd pulled us through. I mean, we played a fantastic first half. You know, I thought everything we were trying to do was kind of coming to fruition. We were making it hard on Trace. You know, we had him in some tough spots. He wasn't able to kind of get going the way he has. And then in the second half, you know, they got some energy there. You know, I thought we had a chance when it was like at 15-17. I thought we had 2 or 3 just really wide open threes that might have got the game back to kind of 20 points. We missed them. They ran out and got a couple threes. And obviously Trace started getting more comfortable. I thought we got a little tired, which then hurt our defense. You know, our defense is so predicated on energy and effort, and because we're scrambling, you know, we're trapping the post, and you got to fly around on the backside. I thought we were late on some rotations. Trace made some great passes, big to big. They started getting comfortable, the game pressure, the momentum, and obviously we didn't do everything right. We had a really costly turnover there at the end, up 2. Thought we took a couple bad shots, you know, at times, but just, I mean, Titus Verhoeven's bucket was enormous. You know, Boo drove in there, dumped it off to Titus. I think he had Trace and Race right on him. Each shot faked, he finished. They came down, scored. Boo hit a huge layup going to his left, you know, over Trace Jackson, which is not an easy feat. You know, and then, you know, obviously they scored again, and then we turned it over. It was tied. I did not want to take a timeout because I felt like we had our best guy with the ball with space. You know, we had a matchup we liked. We had the floor open. Had I called timeout, I would have tried to diagram that. I would have tried to get him the ball with space, you know, with an opportunity to make a play. So we let it play out. You know, I thought he had the presence of mind to kind of wait to just the right time so that if he missed the shot, it would have been overtime. But fortunately, he made it because we were running on fumes, I thought, you know, emotionally, with energy, everything that this week has meant. And man, so proud of our guys. I mean, they deserve all this. You know, it's about them. You know, for them now to get to 10 wins, I think for the second time ever, you know, in school history, you know, the opponents that we've gone toe to toe with and had an opportunity to beat, and, you know, now put ourselves in position through 15 games to really play for something that really matters, you know, being right there in the league race, you know. And, you know, I like I said, I'm glad for the guys that they can kind of get the monkey, because everything talks about tourney talk, and we're going to the tourney, you know, so that's great. You know, now we can just focus on getting better and continuing to figure out how we can be the best we can be and shore some things up and hopefully find some more wins down the stretch.
Take questions. The right here.
Coach, you talked about being confident that you guys are going to make the NCAA tournament. Just now you have 2 straight wins over top 14 teams. You feel like your team should be ranked as well?
I don't know. I mean, I don't really care. You know, I mean, I think it's all subjective. It's fine. I mean, we're the same people that would rank us would be the same people that picked us last in the league. So to me, it's all subjective. I mean, whether we're ranked or not, our guys believe in themselves. You know, I think the best way you get confidence is by learning how to win, you know, and learning how to win maybe when you don't play at your very best. You know, the Purdue game, we played at our very best down the stretch. This game, there were mistakes made. You know, we had turnovers, we took bad shots, we had defensive, but we still found a way to win. And that's the mark of a really tough, gritty team when you can do that.
To the back.
Coach, Boo Booey, 3 of the final 4 shots, and the other one was an assist to Verhoeven.
Yeah.
What can you say about his performance today?
Just big time. I mean, and he's been that way, you know, all year. I'm so proud of him. You know, there's no one, you know, who's been more loyal and committed to this program and what we're trying to build over the past 4 years than Boo. You know, we put the ball in his hands as a freshman. A lot of you guys watched through some of those growing pains with him. You know, he showed flashes, but there were also times where you saw, man, is he ever going to get it? But we stuck with him. He continued to develop. He worked hard. He's just playing with so much confidence. He's gotten so much stronger. You know, his command out on the floor, his balance. He's getting to his spots. He's not only scoring but finding other guys. And I said coming into this year, if we were going to be a team that was going to be a factor, then our guards would have to play to an all-conference caliber, and they've done that, and spearheaded by Boo. I mean, to this point, I'd be hard-pressed to find that he wouldn't be a first-team all-league guy. You know, you look at his numbers, you look at what his team's done now is winning. You know, he's played terrific, and I'm happy he's on my team. When you have a guard like that, it gives you a chance, and he was terrific tonight.
Matthew?
Tyberry was a team high, plus 13. I know plus minus can sometimes be a complicated stat, but what did it mean to you to see him stay confident, play such a great game, and then also hit that big 3 down stretch?
Yeah, obviously hit a big shot. He'd been struggling, you know, with his shot. It's getting a little flat. You know, I've been working with him a little bit. I got to get back in the lab with him the next couple days. But, you know, for him to step up and make that big one after he missed his first 5 or 6 threes, you know, when the game was kind of in the balance there. But I thought his defense was terrific. You know, we put him on hood-schifino, you know, most of the second half. We felt that matchup. You know, we had Boo and Chase off the ball on their wings, and we felt confident putting Ty on hood-schifino, who's one of the best, you know, young guards in the country. And I thought he did a great job. You know, he got some steals, he got some rebounds. You know, his energy's infectious, and that's the one thing with him. You know, he struggled a little bit the past couple games, and I felt like he's lost a little bit of his energy out there, and we need him. We need him to be upbeat and energetic because we feed off of that. And I thought he found other ways. That's what I've talked to him about. Like, when you're not shooting well, find other ways to impact the game. You know, and he did that tonight with his defense and his rebounding.
To the left?
Chris, what do you make of the chance toward Miller?
What's that?
What do you make of the chance?
I didn't like it. Didn't like it. You know, I'm not a big fan of that. It's not something I condone. To me, first of all, Miller is a part of our family. You know, it was not a contentious thing. I love Miller. He gave us 3 great years. I'll be forever indebted to what he brought to the program. He knows there's no bigger fan of him than me. I would have liked it to be a little bit more cheer for us. You know, I mean, I'm always big on that. It was so loud. I wish I had the power to kind of tell everybody to stop, but you know, I wasn't a fan of that because, first of all, the way I feel about Miller, you know, what he was in this program. But I'm not a big believer in that. I just think, you know, cheer loud for us. You know, don't. You know, we were super loud. We didn't, you know, down the stretch, our fans were amazing, and it was towards us. You know, it wasn't directed toward the other team. So obviously it wasn't something that I was a fan of, and something that I wish wouldn't have happened.
To the back?
Hey, you talked about yesterday about how you're trying to keep these guys even keel after the win.
Yeah.
Over Purdue. Earlier on, I know you said you made some mistakes, but did you kind of get a feeling that wasn't going to be a problem tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think our guys know how good Indiana is. I mean, what were they 8-1 in their last 9 games? I mean, there was no hotter team in a conference than Indiana. They just went to Michigan and won. They'd beaten Purdue. You know, they'd gone to Illinois and won. You know, Trace was playing at an ungodly level. He was good. Him and Edie are by far the 2 best players in the league. So, you know, I think probably what helped us after the Purdue game was knowing that Indiana was coming to town. And our guys certainly celebrate. I wanted them to on Sunday. I mean, you do something like that, as special as that was, to, you know, I said, hey, guys, go out and have fun and enjoy this win. But when we come back tomorrow, we got to dig in on Indiana. And I thought we did. You know, we got enough maturity in our locker room where our guys understood. And I think you saw that by how we started the game. You know, if there was a residual effect, we wouldn't have been up by 21 points in the first half. I mean, our guys were really ready to play. I just thought Indiana made a few adjustments. They got comfortable. We got tired. And then all of a sudden, bang, it's a ball game. And we really had to grind it out at the end.
Back left.
Just what does it say? I mean, top wins over top 25 teams in back-to-back games. I think that's the first time in about 13, 14 years.
Only 13, 14? I'm used to them saying 40 or 50 years.
Well, I don't know what 3 straight is.
Yeah, okay.
So
All right.
But what does that say about just where this program is? And do you think that Purdue game kind of gave them some confidence going into this one?
Yeah, I definitely do, but we've had other really good wins. I mean, like, you know, I don't think many people have won in Assembly Hall this year. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't followed, but I don't know if anybody has. I mean, I don't know how many people have gone into the Breslin Center this year and won, you know, at Michigan State. So, you know, Purdue was a great win, but it's been building throughout the year, you know, to be able to, you know, go to Wisconsin in the 6th game in 13 days and grind one out late in the game. You know, I think all of those things build up your confidence. It's like anything. If you lose all those games, then you start to have negative thoughts. and we've been through that in the past. It's almost like let's invent a new way to lose tonight. But now our guys are finding ways to win, because they believe they should. They believe in each other. We have a couple elite guards that are playing at a high level, and everybody else is playing their role, to the best of their ability.
Back right.
Chris, Boo's been coming for a long time, but I think sometime in the middle of this year, he just not forcing shots. I mean, you talk about this thing. When did you see that sort of crystallize? Like, he knows when to give it up in the hugest moments.
Yeah, I just think this year there's just been a calmness to him. There's been a maturity. I mean, he's playing like a senior, and I think he's comfortable with who he is. He believes in himself. He's always had amazing confidence. I mean, since day one, he's always believed. And to me, that's half the battle. If you want to be a good player, you got to believe. You got to be your own biggest cheerleader. So he's always had that self-belief. But I just think his experiences over time, when to attack, when to kind of pull it back. He's a much better defensive player, than he's ever been. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if somebody had told you, I don't know, November, hey, mid-February, you'll be working on getting better, not be worrying about where you're going to be in the postseason, what would you have said?
Let's go. Obviously you come into every year, wanting to be at that level, wanting to win. The Big Ten is very hard league to compete in. I mean, you guys have seen, we have so many quality teams in this league, so many great coaches, so many great players. For our guys now to have our 10th conference win through 15 games is remarkable, not only for them, but, historically for this program. We've never been in this territory, and it's a testament to these guys. They're creating history. They're making their mark on this program, which is really cool. That's what I said. I mean, that was what a big reason why I wanted to coach at Northwestern, because I felt like it was an opportunity to do things that had never been done and in your life. And that's kind of what we tell kids in recruiting. We might not have the tradition yet, or the pros, or the winning, or all that, but you're seeing now our crowds are as good as anyone out there, because we're starting to show we're a team that's good, we can compete, and our guys are leaving an incredible mark and legacy on this program, and they deserve it. The negativity they dealt with the whole offseason, the uncertainty, the talk about where the program was at, and for those guys in that locker room to just ignore that noise and just to say, no, that's not going to be the story. That's not going to be the narrative. We're going to figure out how to win. And, that's what's been fun for me, is being able to be those guys' coach, because they're taking me on a hell of a ride right now. It's been really fun.
Middle.
Coach, you mentioned watching the maturation of Boo, and to an extent the rest of this team throughout the year. Just 4 turnovers this entire game today. That's an excellent mark. How important is it to you that the offense, even when the shots aren't necessarily falling, that at least you're getting those good looks and not giving your opponent a chance? Yeah, I mean, our margin for error is very slim on the offensive end. We have our limitations. We have a hard time at times where, we have a hard time scoring. We're getting better with that. I think we've gotten better. But when you turn the ball over, it makes it even worse. So we've, it's something I feel like that over the span of 10 years, we've done a lot of things not so well, but I think we've always kind of valued the ball. If you look at it, it's something that we've really tried to focus on, is knowing that we need to value our possessions. We need to try to get a good shot, or at least a shot on every possession. And they were pressing us the whole game. I mean, they were picking us up. They were trying to get into our legs. They were trying to wear us down. Now, I wish we would have only been at 3 turnovers, because the 4th was pretty costly. But overall, to only have 4 turnovers tonight was pretty remarkable, the guys.
To the left.
We're now at the point of the year where you're starting to play most games. It's teams you've already played once. What goes into that scouting process when it's a team you've already played and you're already familiar with?
I think that's the hardest part about coaching in the Big Ten, because the respect level you have for the other coaches. Now when you've played someone, when you're going against someone like Coach Woodson, Coach McCaffrey coming up this weekend, Coach Painter, there's going to be adjustments. Nobody's just going to roll out there and do the same thing again. And we've tried to do that as well. You watch film, you try to see, okay, what are some things we did well against this team? Where did they hurt us? And what do we need to really shore up? And that kind of becomes the basis of what you do in these 2 games. I mean, we as coaches have always fought to have like multiple game day preps. We very rarely have 1-day preps in this league. And that's really helps the coaching and the scouting, because you get multiple days to really kind of focus on tendencies, focus on favorites. And that's why if you don't make adjustments within a game, you'll get exposed. because these coaches are too good and they know what they're doing. And, fortunately, having some older guys, we've been able to handle that pretty well.
Lawrence?
Coach, Chase and Boo both had 11 points in the first half, and of course, Robbie, Ty combined for 13, but I mean, the defense limited to Indiana to 20 points, right? So how do you give it more to the offense's production or the defense production, or just shows, puts on a display of, what we can be when both sides are quick?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the first half we played fantastic. I thought we had energy. Obviously, coming off the game Sunday, you worry about the residual effect. I didn't believe it would be there because of that crowd tonight and because of the respect we had for Indiana. But to come out that first half too and have that kind of energy and to turn them over and to get into our traps and then come down, I think we scored 39 points. I mean, it was a great half, and you almost wish that the game was over at that point because you knew those guys were going to rally themselves. You don't win 8 out of 9 in this league without going down with a fight. I knew they were going to come out. I knew they were going to come after us. Like I said, I thought we had in the middle part of the second half, kind of in that 14-13 when it was still kind of 14-15, I thought we had 2 or 3, maybe even 4, like wide open 3 looks that maybe would have kept them at bay a little bit, but we missed them. And then they came down, they scored, we couldn't get stops. They made a couple threes. You start feeling some game pressure. But that first half was fun to watch our guys to be able to bounce back from a big win Sunday and to be able to put those 20 minutes together. It shows a lot about the team.
Back left.
Chris, obviously you have very talented guards, but watching you twice this year, the influence of Matthew Nicholson on their productivity, almost invariably somebody's getting hung up on his screens. Can you elaborate on what he means to their ability to produce that?
Yeah, I think Matt's development is probably one of the most, untalked about things with our team because our guards have been so good, but you're talking about a guy who really has sat for 2 years, and he's worked and he's gotten stronger and changed his body, but hadn't had a chance to play. And I think a big reason why a lot of you guys were skeptical about our team, and rightfully so, was what was the interior gonna look like. You knew you had Chase, you knew you had Boo, you knew you had Robbie, Ty coming back, Julian, who had played a lot, but what was the inside gonna look like, especially with the guys we play against in this conference. And the emergence of Matt this year, to me, has been great. His physicality in the paint, his shot blocking, his rebounding, his effort, his screening, and the more he plays, he's going to get better offensively. That's part of the development. For a lot of intensive purposes, this is freshman year. Because he really hasn't played in games like this in these minutes. And I give Titus credit too. I think Titus has been a nice, piece for us to kind of bring in as an older guy, a 6th-year senior, who can kind of steady that position. I think both those guys are playing their roles very well. And you're going to look at the stat sheet, and they both had 2 points. And you're going to say, man, they didn't do anything. Well, no, they did a lot. Their energy, their ball screen defense, their screening to get our guards open. I thought both those guys, Matt in particular, did a great job tonight against a very imposing front line.
Kevin?
I wanted to ask about Chase because he started 4 or 5 in the game, finished, I believe, 1 of 10.
Yeah.
Is there ever a thought of, talking to him and being like, hey, it's time to impact the game in other ways, or does he just have that green light that says, okay, I expect you to shoot your way out of it like you did against Purdue?
Well, he has a green light as long as they're good ones, and I thought he got off to a great start, but and he would be the first to tell you, I thought with his matchup that he had down the stretch, I would have liked to see him attack the basket a little bit more. We need him to be aggressive. If he's not aggressive, we need Boo and Chase to be aggressive, and we want them to be playmakers, and we trust them. I mean, they both have the green light to make plays. We just want to make sure, are they the right shots? Are they the right plays? Now, there's sometimes in a game where you have to, last 5 seconds of a shot clock. You might have to shoot a step back or make a tough shot. But I thought in the second half, I don't think he took the best of shots, but that he kept playing D, and that's what I love. I mean, I've said that all along. I mean, Chase, it all comes from a competitive spirit. He believes in himself. He believes he can make those plays. He single-handedly offensively won us the game the other day when he just had missed the whole game and then went crazy the last 4 minutes. So I want him to stay confident. I want him to stay, but continue. I think he's done a really good job this year of improving in a lot of those areas. And especially now that we get into these, really meaningful games here late, and as we approach postseason, you need those guys to really be great decision makers.
To the right.
And Coach, you talked about that sense of confidence that you guys have, that calm in these clutch situations when it hasn't necessarily been there in years past. Just do you attribute that to winning, to senior leadership? Just what goes into that?
Yeah, I think both. You know, I think it's like I said. I mean, you guys know it's like anything. Like for me, like I felt like I could be. I was an assistant coach for a long time. You know, under Coach K, and you're always like, man, I'm ready. I'm ready. I can do this. And then you get in that seat, and there are many times where you're like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. And it's like, you know, you can only learn through your experiences. People can tell you, we can watch film and say, do this, do that. But until you go out there under the game, like, you know, these kind of crowds, these kind of opponents, until you go out there and actually do it well, you're not going to have that kind of feeling. And this year, I don't know what our record is in one possession games or 5 points or less, but I think it's pretty good. You know, we've lost a few. You're not going to win them all, but you know, I've always said in this league, if you can win more close games than you lose, you'll be in pretty good shape. So to answer your question, it's experience, it's belief, it's confidence, but now it's also because of achievement. Like I said, I mean, these guys, and you know, early in the year we played Auburn and we came up, you know, it was 43-42 and we lost by 1. But we came out of that game and our guys were like, man, I think that game showed our guys we can be pretty good, because as talented as they were. You know, and then we went to Michigan State a couple weeks later and got that win, and our guys were like, man, I think we could be pretty good. And I've just seen our confidence and belief continue to grow as the season has gone on.
Time for one more question. Alex?
Coach, you talked about that league kind of being at 13, 14 points in the second half, but even though you value the ball, even though you had 4 turnovers, how much do those like early shot clock threes kind of feel like a turnover?
Yes.
Is that something you've got to clean up?
Yeah, I thought we took some bad ones. Like I said, I thought, you know, there were probably 3, 4, 5 times I thought we could have attacked the basket, you know, especially when you're not, I mean, it's one thing if you're making them, you know, but we weren't. I mean, we go 8 for 33. And you never want to, like, for me, you know, I've said it all along, like, I'm always very careful because I was a shooter. And when coaches put doubt in my head about when to shoot, when not to shoot, like that can play mind games with a guy, especially if he's a good shooter. So I never want our guys to feel like they can't shoot. Our guys have the green light. I want them to take good shots. But that's where you got to kind of understand where the game's at. You know, we haven't really been hitting. You know, I thought they were closing out to 2 or 3 of those that we could have shot fake, driven in there, and either gotten a better shot in the paint or a more wide open 3. So, I mean, certainly for us guys, I mean, we're going to shoot threes. I mean, you look at our team and how we're made up. We're going to shoot threes, but we have to continue to find, because you look, we were 14 for 14 from the free throw line. So how can we continue to find ways to get ourselves to the free throw line, because that's a big strength of ours as well.
Right, that'll wrap